The Wood Whisperer is brought to you by Powermatic, the gold standard since 1921, and by Rockler Woodworking and Hardware. Create with confidence.
Saw blade for sawing veneers. It's got a curved bottom on the, or curved saw blade on both top and bottom, so that you know that the point that is contacting the material is always the tangent of this curve. So you always have good contact when you're drawing across. The problem is that it's designed for veneers. So the saw was never really meant to cut through anything super thick. And I don't know if you can see this or not. I'm going to try and get as close as I can here. The teeth of the saw are actually beveled on one side. This is the bevel side, and they're flush on this side. And you can actually see where it was honed on the back side. So what happens is that as I'm drawing this across the fretboard here, I can't go very deep because this, the teeth are only doing the cutting down here. Well, they're only cutting the thickness of the teeth and not the thickness of the saw body itself. So after a certain amount of time, I'll just get a bunch of heat buildup on my blade instead of actually cutting any wood with it. So I'm going to try one thing, and if that doesn't work, I'm headed to the woodworking store to buy probably a Japanese style dovetail saw or something. This is my dovetail saw, or not my dovetail saw, but this is my little handheld saw here, and it's flat on the bottom, and the handle will prevent me from actually being able to saw that properly. Although it's the right thickness because the teeth and the thickness of the blade are the same. So I'm going to try and chisel this off now, and I don't know, maybe I won't do that. That really sounds like a bad idea. I think I'll just go to Woodcraft and buy myself a new saw blade.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Okay, here it is. My brand new saw. If this doesn't work, then I have a brand new router bit that I can try. But I don't want to use this if I can avoid it. Now it'll work. Well, I think I totally dodged a bullet on that one. I think this turned out as good as I could have expected it. The sides are nice and flush with the neck, and you really can't tell unless you look really close. I thought maybe it was going to be really noticeable, but I was really focusing on that area, and when you kind of step back and take a look at the whole thing, it really doesn't show up that much. So I'm quite pleased with the way that it turned out. Certainly will not be making that mistake when it comes to number 2, if it comes to number 2. Well, we finally made it. Guitar is completed. It's not finished yet, but it's completed. Everything that needs to be done on it is done on it. The only step left to do is apply the actual finish. So the finish I'd like to put on the guitar is a French polish. The only difference is that my wife prefers satin finishes over super high mirror glossy finishes. So the finish I'd like to put on this guitar would be a satin finish. I'd still like to try a little bit of the French polishing techniques, so I will be using shellac as kind of the base coat for the guitar, using some of the pumice to do some pore-filling techniques, just to try a little bit things I've never tried before. It's probably not a good idea to experiment on the guitar, but I guess if things go really bad, that's what sandpaper is for. Every resource that I have read, seen, or watched, they all seem to be different. There isn't one that's the same. So what I'm going to be doing is kind of a combination of several different techniques that I've seen, some techniques that I've liked and some parts that I've liked of others. really means to me is that there is no one right way to do it. So I'm sure that there will be people out there screaming, oh, you shouldn't have done it that way, and other people that have been saying, well, that was the only way you should have done it. So bear with me, and we're going to start the finishing process. Hopefully, if all goes well, it'll be nice and satiny when it's done. So for ease of finishing, I have hung the guitar from the ceiling, like so, and that way I don't have to set it down on any surfaces or worry about it touching a tabletop and getting dusty or nicked up or having it stick to the surface, whatever. This way I can hang it and work on all sides and not have to worry about a table getting in the way. So the next thing we have to do to the bridge is to drill the holes on the bottom, or on the back side of it rather, for the strings to pass through. I'm using a little teeny tiny drill bit. It's about 48 thousandths diameter. Really small, but doesn't need to be a big hole, so here we go. Okay, the guitar is finally ready for the bridge. A new way to do it is with a bridge vacuum clamp. And basically what it is, it's a little aluminum box with a big piece of foam around the outside here, this little gasket. And then the clamp itself is a really thick but stretchy rubber. I'm sure that there's technical terms for all of these products, but I don't know what they are. And I've hooked up my vacuum hose to it. And so what you do is you get ready to glue it down, put that on top of the guitar, turn on the vacuum pressure, and it sucks everything right down. So hoping this works well. Well, the guitar is finally finished. Completed, done, and ready for the big time. So here it is. For the most part, I am totally thrilled with how it turned out. It's loud, the tone is fairly decent, and all the frets seem to create the proper note. The only major issue is the open G string. There's some kind of weird harmonic going on, and when the G is plucked loudly, the guitar rings like a bell. It's difficult to notice when playing the guitar, but when the G is plucked all by itself, you can really hear it. The Rogue frequency is a high A, or 1760 Hertz. I've tried different strings, different string tensions, different nuts, and stringing it on different tuning pegs. I've even stuffed bags of lead shot in the sound hole to try and dampen any strange harmonics that might be present in the guitar body, but nothing seems to get rid of the Rogue frequency. If there are any luthiers out there that might have some sort of suggestion, I'd be open to pretty much anything. Nonetheless, the project was a blast. The amount of knowledge I gained from this experience will surely spill over into my future woodworking projects, and taking this journey has taught me that not all projects necessarily need to be finished in a weekend. I gave Erin the guitar on Sunday the 13th. Many of my friends and family commented that I should have waited until the 25th, but that's just too bad. It's my gift, and I didn't want to make her wait any longer. I also wanted to take this opportunity so you could see the guitar stand that I made for her as well. I've been working on this off and on when the project had its downtime moments, and I'm also very happy with the way it turned out. It's made out of walnut and some leftover fretboard scraps, and I think it looks a lot nicer in our living room than one of those cheap metal stands you can buy at Guitar Center. This is a good opportunity for me to also thank one of the coolest woodworkers I know, Mark Spagnolo, aka the Wood Whisperer, for inspiring me to break out of the CAD world and try my hand at some relative dimensioning. I'd also like to thank Mark for graciously offering to showcase my videos on his blog. He did a far better job than I in editing my building footage, and I really hope you take a look at his website. I'd like to thank Rick, my father-in-law, for the inspiration to do this project, and his continued support and suggestions as I went along. As I said before in the first video, I would never have thought it possible to do this project if it weren't for him. Thanks also to all my family and friends who kept watching the videos, even though they got to be a bit long in the tooth at times. I appreciate all your feedback and words of encouragement. And last but not least, I'd like to thank everyone who subscribed to my YouTube videos. It was nice to see that people other than my immediate circle of friends and family were interested in the project. So to everyone watching, thanks for taking this journey with me.